Well, hello, it's Jamie with the Reese Homes team here to talk to you today about sorting out the hype from the realities in a real estate market. Today, we're talking about Bitcoin. In the last week or so, I've seen a couple of different articles in the Seattle Times and then one actual incident of Bitcoin being mentioned in a listing. So, the first one I wanted to point out is the article that Seattle Times had put out that it talked about Bitcoin being used to purchase a home. I wanted to sort the hype here. It sounds really, really cool, but you got to keep in mind that in this case, like all other securities, Bitcoin was used just like a stock, a bond, or a mutual fund here, where it needed to be liquidated before it could actually be transferred to the escrow company and used to fund a transaction. So while it sounds really cool, like this person went in with their Bitcoin codes and made that ledger transaction right there at escrow, that's really not the case here. They went and transferred their money, got their cash from their bank, and transferred that into escrow. So it's essentially here what they've done is they went out and purchased a home using a security that's relatively volatile overall. Now, let's talk about that volatility and its implications. This is where I came across, not long after I'd seen that article, I'd come across this quote in the agent remarks of a listing describing why that listing had failed twice to get to closing. The first time, apparently, the buyer had some real life issues, but the second time, the buyer had a 50% decrease in their Bitcoin shares, at least according to the listing agent. So that's an important thing to know. And when we look at transactions, whether we're representing a seller or a buyer, it's our job to reduce those risks and manage those risks. And so the first thing I want to point out to you in a transaction is the first and foremost, whether you're a seller or a buyer, it's really important to know, and most people never actually read the contract. When you're buying a property or when your buyer is purchasing a property from you, they are saying that they have sufficient funds to close the sale and are not relying on any contingent source of funds. And that would include any types of securities or bank financing. Now, if they are using contingent sources of funds, bank financing, securities, something like that, they should be using one of the following forms: a financing contingency or something that's the evidence of funds contingency, which you would see right here, which would be showing where those buyers are getting the funds from. So I could go into further detail about this, but if you've got any questions about what Bitcoin means for the real estate market, what contingent versus non-contingent funds are, and how you can be protected as a seller and a buyer through using the right strategies, I'd love to talk with you. Thanks for watching, and I hope your year is off to a great start.